In this episode of Starforged, we learn the valuable lesson: make sure your mic is turned on before you start playing for a half an hour. Welcome back. Anyway, let's when we last left Earl and Zeb. We had just had a bit of a misadventure out here in the midst of the wilds of space between Meridian Station and Glimmer of Hope, where the ship had been revealed to have become somewhat infested, slightly infested with machine mites, colloquially known as space crabs. After sort of fighting them off through the ship, killing all the energy signatures in the ship, the mites fled out into space or swarmed out into space after a stellar creature that had pursued the ship from Meridian Station, a stellar creature similar to K, who's currently on the ship, and we kind of killed the power to keep from seeming like an aggressive target to this big, enormous thing that would just eat the ship, and also to provide, kind of let them detect that this was a better option for trying to suck energy off or something like that. So they kind of formed a net of their own bodies and tried to engage this big stellar energy ball thing that I need a better name for them. If you think of a good name for these sentient energy balls made from star stuff, do leave me a comment. I'm not really sure what to call them. In any case, we took that opportunity to slip away and finish up our trip to the system that houses both the settlement of Glimmer and the settlement of Lasthope on two different worlds in the same system. So that brings us back over to Glimmer of Hope, where we come out of the jump with Earl kind of up on the bridge and kind of pondering just everything that's been going on, getting an idea of, there's a lot that's been going on, and a lot that centers somewhat around these two worlds between Meridian Station and Glimmer of Hope. And having, done that, fighting off the space crabs, I've been kind of pondering like everything, because we've got Paladin is here in this, or at least he was the last time we dropped them off, and so Paladin is here. Asana, one of our other Bonds, actually, is here in the system. So is Dex Freeman, who's they're a Port Authority worker, as well as sort of a closet criminal, and working with us on our often ignored quest to figure out what the heck is going, try to save this world from this toxic poison that's been brought onto the world by Kamorashim, and either stop the toxic poisoning of the planet or maybe even get terraforming back on track. And of course, there's the toxic poisoning itself, which is somehow tied to this waste products that Meridian Station is shipping here for possibly to kill off the fast-growing lichen that makes it impossible to reach the precursor vaults here. So what I'm looking at doing here, I suppose I could throw up an oracle and radio Paladin and see if the planet is safe or not, and let an oracle decide if that's the case. But what I decided to do instead is, I apologize, I'm kind of recapping a little bit because I did do this already when I was recording, but didn't have the sound on. What I decided to do instead is use one of the opening moves, one of the session moves, beginning a session, where we roll to begin a session and roll that oracle. And what I got when I did that was a seemingly unrelated situations are shown to be connected. So as Earl is, kind of shaken out of his reverie by Zeb going, Earl? Yeah. Sorry, just thinking about everything that's going on. Let's take her in towards the planet. Once we get close enough, I'll radio Paladin and make sure it's safe to set down. We'll see if we can't stock up a little bit and figure out what we need to do next. Because I've got a lot. Earl has a lot going on here. We've got we're trying to get justice, obviously, largely for the crew of the Zebulon Harrier, even figure out entirely what happened to them, although we're getting a better picture of that. I did vow to Dex to try to stop Kamorashim's attempts to kill the Glimmer precursor lichen and possibly get terraforming back online. Made no progress on that whatsoever. I would like to lay Akeem and Ayako to rest. They're still in the hold. The only members of the crew of the Sharia's Tribute, which was the last ship that Earl was on before waking up with a cold sleep hangover in the Zebulon Harding. No idea where the rest of the crew is at. No idea kind of know what happened to Akeem and Ayako, in that they were, basically died of lack of oxygen on the planet. Managed to keep Earl alive. And also find a safe place for K, but I'm not sure that this is going to be that world. Not least because of the oracle that I got here. The seemingly unrelated situations are shown to be connected, which is the oracle that I got, oracle response I got for beginning of the session. Just want to tie all that together. So I'm thinking about all of these things that I've got going on. There's people on the planet that I can reach out to, people I have a bond with, which is great. But at the same time, there's a lot going on, and it's not necessarily a safe place. It's one of the easiest planets to reach from Meridian Station. It's probably likely to be obvious that I went this way when we got away from Meridian Station. That Zebulon Harding came this way. As we're closing in here and getting ready to radio Paladin, I'm picking up the comms and trying to hail them. It's like on the probably a channel frequency that we were given by Paladin to contact him when we're in town or when we're in town. And it's, this is Zebulon Harding over, and it's just really bad static. Zebulon, is anybody reading this? This is Earl Baxter with the Zebulon Harding. Scout, anyone out there? And nothing but static, and I turned to kind of just talk to Zeb about this, and I see Kay's kind of still on the bridge and in the suit and everything, and the faceplate's glowing really, really bright and flickering, but kind of unsteadily. And the really bright flickers and flashes of light seem to coincide with the static on the comms. Kay, are you okay? And Kay's looking out the viewport. He's like, the world is covered in death. Glimmer? I mean, it is pretty nasty down there. No, it's been smeared with the dead leavings of the sea in which I was born. It's poison. It's dying. If it were, I don't even have words. Earl does. I mean, what Kay has described in the past is that the cloud, this molecular cloud around the star at Meridian system, Kay described as the ocean, the sea in which it was born, or the sea that is its home. And Meridian Station is bringing all of this waste, well, maybe not all, but certainly bringing a bunch of this waste here to Glimmer, and probably working with Kimura Shin here on this planet to maybe kill off the lichen and try to get to the precursor vault. Now, it's no great revelation, really, to say, oh, it's Starforged and some oligarchy kind of corporate entity is trying to get their hands on precursor tech. But it does kind of put things in perspective, because they're doing this everywhere. Unlike, you might see a lot of situations, and a lot of maybe Starforged situations where you see some humans maybe leveraging some precursor tech. They found something. They've got a corporation that's making use of some kind of old thing. None of that's been successfully done here in the Moor Empire at all. We don't really know everything that they're up to. I don't know why there's got a war going on in Lagrange, because every time I come there, it's Meridian forces kind of attacking this vital world here. But I mean, whoever encountered the Iron Auger asteroid, it did not go well for them. Whatever they found inside of that asteroid basically took over their mining bots and killed everybody. Stuff that's going on in some of these, I mean, you've got some Ironsworn that are still kind of working out in the black and working against Meridian Station, but in general, there aren't a lot of groups that are working against Meridian. That allows them to move someone with carte blanche, and they haven't been able to turn that into any kind of success. They haven't been able to access the precursor vault on Glimmer. There's nothing but dead things anywhere near KTEC Z48. The Grave, which has a precursor vault in orbit, just has a bunch of dead ships around it. And the last time they went there, they were trying to take K there, and that just resulted in K being freed. Now, that might have been partly because of the Zebulon Harding, but who knows? And why would they have been bringing it there, except for some reason they thought that creature was going to be able to help them get access to that vault? They had a purpose in bringing it there. And when you look at this, they were trying to bring K to the Grave. They've been taking the industrially processed, life-giving soup of this star field that these star creatures are being born out of, and they're doing something to it and dumping it all over the stuff that probably is intentionally meant to protect this precursor vault. I mean, I say that because we've been we've seen that big blob on Dead Rock that was specifically that, it covers up a big city, an old precursor city. Paladin's the only one's been able to figure out how to do anything with that. So they seem to think that there's something with these star creatures that's going to allow them to access these precursor vaults, at least in a couple of situations. And that is not awesome. They're clearly up to something. There's a couple new oracles with regards to factions, and I haven't done a lot of rolling on those oracles. with anything really, because I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what Meridian is up to, but I have, poked around a little bit at all just to get a little bit of inspiration on how much influence does Meridian have. And I think here within the system, they're to a certain extent almost inescapable. They're pervasive in this sector. Sort of an oligarchical elite, which is to say corporate thing that's using their wealth to steamroll anybody. I rolled up their projects, and it basically boils down to expanding operations into a new sector. Ta-da. And also disrupting the operations of a rival, and I have to wonder who that is. That's most of what I got out of the various oracles, but that's a bit of enough. And so what we have here coming up on Glimmer is a situation where Kay is really kind of having a lot of trauma, just what they're sensing coming off the planet. I don't see us landing on this rock with Kay aboard, because that's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, Kay's barely born, certainly in the lifetimes of stars. It's like bringing a kid to an abattoir. Like, why would you? Yeah. So I'm going to radio. Can you, maybe it'd be better if you weren't looking at it. Do you want to go somewhere that you be calm? Go down next to the engines? You like the engines and the energy down there. I tell you what, I promise we're not going to land on the planet. I just need to talk to a friend of mine down there. If you can get away from the sorry to put this in such a way, but if you can get away from the comms enough for me to be able to talk to him, we can figure out a different plan. But I promise I'm not gonna go down the Glimmer with you. I'm not gonna bring you down there. I promise. I won't. But I do need to talk to my friend who's down there. So maybe you go to the go down to the engines. Maybe talk to Zeb. I can absolutely talk to Kay if that would help. I have I have a number of stories. I have an entire database of interesting stories, and a great deal of historical files. He sounds a little bit puzzled by that, but it is what it is. Well, all right then. Kay, you want to do that? Go down there and just stay close to the engine. Just kind of relax, and maybe Zeb can tell you some stories. All right. Oh, all right. Yes, that would be better. I don't want to go down there. I'm not going to take you down there. I promise. We're not coming any closer than this. I just need to talk to my friend. So, Kay wanders off, and Zeb's sort of following them by virtue of moving the voice along through various speakers throughout the system. And we do see the light inside of the suit kind of calm down a little bit, and also Zeb's wandering away. It's going to help the comms unit a lot. And I'm going to start again. It's like, breaking in. This is Zebulon Harding, Earl Baxter. Scout, you out there? Calling anyone on the channel. This is the Zebulon Harding. And it takes a few minutes, but we do get Paladin. Well, hello there, Earl. I wasn't expecting to hear from you, but I'm glad I am. Yeah, it's been a bit of a crazy time here. Listen, I was hoping to have a little bit of time to just sojourn, if you will, down on the planet's surface, but I got a friend aboard that has got a bad feeling about that plan. So I was wondering, what's the situation in system with regards to? We came in a little bit hot, and I'm just wondering if there's a good place where we could go and cool down. And I am going to ask the Oracle if there is any place in the system where we can get a little help from Paladin. Knowing that we really can't land on Glimmer, and the Meridian Station is here, but it's a big system. And also Paladin's really good at sneaking around stuff. I mean, their thing is agent. So I'm going to get open the Oracle here, and I'm going to say it's likely that there's probably some place in the system where we can find a safe spot. So let's see if the Oracle agrees. Yes, the Oracle does. That's 18. Pretty solid. Well, if you can't come on down here, Lasthope is it's a big world with not a lot of people on it. You probably find someplace over there. In fact, I might have some coordinates that we can set you down. All right. Any chance I'm going to be able to see you or Asana? Well, might do. Let's get you set down, and I'll be over there to talk things over. Also, I've got a message here from a friend of yours, Dex. They wanted to send along a little bit of extra information. Something they thought you ought to see. All right. Well, that's good to know. All right. So we're going to head over towards Lasthope, which is a different, we haven't done anything with Lasthope. Lasthope, ooh, I love that picture. Good stuff. This is a planet-side settlement. Few people in the population, not really much of an authority. Their main focuses are just mining and subsistence. The planet's name is Mirage. It's a desert world. I mentioned before, well, in my mind, as this desert world, and I'm with this picture that I'm working with, this is a highly reflective, stellarly speaking, this is a highly reflective planet. It's really easy to spot with the naked eye because it reflects a lot of the light from the star in this system. But I mean, it's a desert world, but ideal atmosphere. Also a precursor vault here. Damn. Orbital precursor vault. Planet side feature. Remote rendezvous. And flooded grottos, which I'm not sure what I'm going to do with right now. But for now, that remote rendezvous sounds just delicious. So we're going to head that way. I got to ask Paladin about that precursor vault when I see him. All right, so we're going to set down and we're going to, he gives us coordinates, and it is truly remote. I mean, we're about as far from any place that you can be. And flooded grottos. So they've got these salt flats. I think there's probably some sort of very low area, like a Dead Sea kind of area where there's actually still some water, maybe underground or something like that. Or they, and you've got, I don't know that's necessarily relevant, but there's maybe some of these areas where there's been like there was water and there isn't anymore, where you've got these great underwater, what were underwater stone formations that have pulled away. So you can easily pull a ship in there underneath these really weird overhung rock formations and basically get coverage from space pretty easily, and it's away from everything else. You're not going to get run into in other cases like these, but more just jagged and craggy and that kind of thing. So we pull up in there and really just set to do a once over on the ship. I mean, there's no reason we can't be outside. The atmosphere is perfect. It's going to be hot outside, but we're in the shade, so that's not too bad. Perfect time to give this ship a once over. What kind of shape is the ship in right now? I don't have the integrity knocked over here. Let's look at Earl's sheet. And the ship itself is in, it's in all right. So we're gonna kind of go through this thing, and I'm actually going to sojourn while we're here, in anticipation of Paladin showing up with some supplies, and just kind of trying to get my head on straight while we have this opportunity. I am going to roll the sojourn move with the anticipation that Paladin's going to be showing up to kind of help with this a little bit with regards to, so cooperative smuggler, secretly also an agent. Asana is what is her deal? I don't know that I've got her. Oh, to be over here, actions. Smuggler and agent. Her expertise is thief. That's fine. I'm not going to make use of that right now. So, I think Smuggler is going to let him get some supplies over to us. So we're going to take a +1 on this just from him helping us out with this. But let's take a look at the move here. And we're going to, where's our recover moves? Sojourn. Community's kind of playing it fast and loose in this case, but we do get a little bit of help. So I'm going to roll heart and take a +1 because we're going to have Paladin helping us out. And let's see what we got here. That's still only a weak hit because I rolled about as low as you possibly can, but still managed to beat one of the dice here. When you spend time recovering on a weak hit, as above, okay, so strong hit says there's safe refuge. We can each choose 2 recover moves: heal, hearten, repair. So each, I can pick 2. Hearten, repair, or resupply. Instead of rolling, assume an automatic strong hit for each of those. An individual move can be taken more than once. On a weak hit, as above, but time is short and resources are strained, you and your allies make 1 recover move instead of 2, and no more than 3 moves total amongst the group. That's fine. So I only get to do 1. So my supply's at a 2 and my spirit's at a 3. And I feel like Paladin showing up, time is short and resources are strained. I think with Paladin showing up, I'm going to focus more on resupply because he can bring us more concrete supplies as opposed to spiritual upswing. So let's back over to the recover moves here and just look at what resupply does. On a strong hit, you are in need of take +2 supply. So we're going to take a +2 to our supply as we're working on the ship, and it feels good to just not be on the run right now for a minute. It's also handy when Paladin shows up, Arnav, and opens up the cargo bay, and there's crates of supplies and all that sort of thing. And I've got a lot of questions to ask him, so we're going to get to it. I'm looking for the crew of the Sirius Tribute. He's bringing some news from Dex. I want to find out more about Meridian Station's activities over on Glimmer. I'm going to introduce him to Kay. That's going to blow his mind a little bit. And I think there's just a lot going on here. So I am going to start by gathering information, I think. Maybe? Yeah, I think I'm going to secure an advantage first. And that is, I'm just taking stock of the whole situation here. Like everything that's going on in system. Basically, I'm getting the news. We're making preparations. We've got all the supplies and everything like that, and trying to get an angle on everything that's going on. And I'm doing this with, and also trying to get an angle on what Meridian is up to in this area. So I'm doing this with, I'm going to say expertise, focus, and observation. I'm going to be using wits on this, but I'm going to take a +1 on this because, again, I'm working with Scout/Paladin, and one of their things is that they are an agent and they're an anti-corporate agent. So I feel like they're going to have a good angle on what Meridian might be up to here. So we're going to roll wits and take a +1 as we talk through with Paladin just what the hell is all going on here, and try to figure out what our next move is. And that is a full miss. Whoo, boy. That's awesome. But I can burn momentum for a weak hit. On a full miss, I can fail or my assumptions betray me, and I'm not loving that idea. So I'm gonna burn my momentum. Oh, geez, burning momentum only gets me a weak hit. That's terrible. Ugh. On a strong hit, I can take both. On a weak hit, I can choose one. I'm still gonna burn the momentum. It takes me down to a 2. With a +1 on my, I think I'm gonna take a +1 on my next move for this. So I'm assessing the situation. The situation is not great. Everything's been proceeding in the same way as it has been on the planet. Shipments from Meridian, if anything, their presence in the area has been even more pronounced than it has been in the past. Paladin's been trying to figure out what to do about this next. Makes it pretty clear that this is really their goal, is to thwart these guys. But it's getting really difficult. So on a strong hit or on a weak hit, I'm just going to take a +1 for it. So that's a whole mess with Meridian being involved in here. Really, something needs to be done about what's happening on the planet and see if we can mess up that whole supply line situation. I have some thoughts about that. I mean, I'm sharing as much information as I can with Paladin. So the whole thing about these star creatures and everything like that, that's got to kind of blow his mind. All the other things that Meridian's up to. Well, it's not any surprise that a corporation want to get their hands on a precursor vault. Well, why is it? How the hell is it that they aren't all over the precursor vault that's up in orbit here? I mean, it's right there. Doesn't seem like anybody's doing anything with it. I'm going to gather information, see what Paladin knows about this. I am taking a +1 forward on this from rolling it forward from secure an advantage. That's the one benefit I did get. And that is still a miss. Holy moly. Okay. I don't like what I'm finding out, basically. All right, so on a miss with gather information, your investigation unearths a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines your quest. Your investigation unearths a dire threat, reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines your quest. All right, pay the price. I think I have an idea what this is. Your actions causes collateral damage or has an unintended effect. I think it's more of a surprise thing. Cool. Let's look at some of the other things here. Dire threat. Paladin looks at me for a second. It's just like, what the hell are you talking about? The precursor vault in orbit around this planet right here. There's just the one station, one precursor vault in the system. It's the one on Glimmer. It's covered by the Arnav. There's a you can see it. That little spark up there. It's right there. I flew past it. Not more than 2,000 kilometers off the damn thing. Coming down. The closest I ever want to get to it. The one around Lasthope. The Mirage precursor vault. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't know. Well, are you messing with me right now? Because I don't know what you think the joke is, but it ain't funny. So the unwelcome truth that I am establishing here is that for whatever reason, most everyone doesn't realize that there's a vault around Mirage at all. What that indicates, I'm not sure. Maybe Meridian does have access to it. Maybe they don't. Why can Earl see it and know that it's there? I do not know. We didn't mention it the last time that we were in the system. So what's different? I do not know. But for whatever reason, Earl can you see it now? It's right. All right. So my question is, Earl points it out. Can Paladin see it now? I'm going to ask the Oracle. I'm going to say that it's about a 50-50 chance that there's some effect, some kind of field effect that is allowing, that will allow Paladin, or maybe just me pointing it out directly and pointing straight at the thing, you know, some kind of perception filter or something like that. I'm going to point the thing directly out to Paladin and see if he can see the damn thing. Does that work? The Oracle says yes. Hot damn. Now I don't know, or rather I'm not deciding. I'm not deciding yet whether it's because I pointed it out or because there's something going on with the Zebulon Harding or Earl or Kay. That's an interesting thought. That's allowing us to perceive this thing, but it didn't seem like news. Like Earl had already known about it. I don't know. I don't know which I like better. I don't know whether it's something that Earl hasn't been exposed to that would normally hide it, or if there's an effect on the ship related to all the stuff that happened that we don't know about. If it's K, I don't know. We're gonna find out probably, but we might find out really soon. All right. Well, obviously that's a problem. I'm not. Damn. Keep finding out more stuff, and none of it's good. What did you got that message that Dex sent me? I mean, let's just pile bad news on top of everything else. And one more time, I'm going to gather information. I'm going to gather information from the message that Dex sends me. I'm going to take a +1 on this because Dex sent it to me, so I'm assuming it has to do with his connections as either a Port Authority person or a criminal or whatever. So I'm going to gather information based on what he has to tell me. We're going to do one more roll for that gather information. I know I'm doing a bunch of gather informations in a row, but they're kind of all coming from different sources, so I'm fine with this. Gather information, action score. Ooh, yeah, another weak hit, but at least it was a weak hit. It's better than the fail I had before. When you search for clues, so on a weak hit, I get some information that provides new insight, but also complicates your quest. Envision what you discover, take +1 momentum. All right, so I think the message from Dex is that Meridian Station has been sending even more stuff out there, and the word from those people who still wander around the wastes of Glimmer is that the lichen is dying off. That situation is definitely getting worse. So complicates the quest certainly, because I'm going to have to move on that one. So we've got Lasthope with a precursor vault in orbit around the damn planet that nobody seems to know is there. We've got another precursor vault on Glimmer that nobody can reach, except maybe they are going to be able to reach it pretty soon. And I have an iron bow to do something about that. So while the hidden precursor vault around Lasthope is important, I do not like anything about what this is going to do next at all. So based on the fact that I have an iron vow sworn to this thing, listen, how long is the ship going to be able to stay here without anybody noticing? Paladin says I was parked here for a year one time. Nobody ever really realized it. We can, trust me, I've put some things into the cliffs and stuff that's going to make it hard. All right. Can you give me a ride back over to, I can't take K back over there. Can you give me a ride back to Glimmer? I'm going to have to see what I can do about, God, I hate gold planets. I'm going to have to see what I can do about what can be done about that thing. I got to find out more about that, whatever Meridian's up to with Coercion. Without your ship, well, I can't do anything with K right now. I can't bring them on. If I can't bring them, I can't bring the ship. What the hell am I going to do with them? I don't like leaving the ship. I don't like leaving the ship behind. That makes me uneasy in the extreme. And so yeah, Paladin's giving me a second look here, and he's like, "Are you sure that's what you want to do?" No, hell no, I ain't sure. Then pause, think about it, and just see. All right. You want to come inside? So cook something up. I got a lot of thinking to do. Yeah, I've got time. What did you say about the crew of the ship you were trying to find out something about? Oh, apparently I was a crew member aboard the Ceres Tribute. I found the ship and a couple of the crew members, but I think they didn't survive, but I think some of them did. I'm trying to see if I can track any of them down. Well, you should still be able to get into the weave from here for the whole system, so yeah, you could probably look them up. All right. I'll look that up when we get back in the ship. See if I can find anything out about the tribute or the crew of the tribute from there. Too much going on. Yeah, I don't know if you might want to think about what you want to do here. I mean, I'm sure Zeb will be fine without you, but will you be okay? I made a vow, Arnav. Made a vow. Sometimes it's just the thing you've got to do, whether it's good for you or not. All right. I understand. Well, let's go inside. All right, Arnav. Yeah, I'll thank you for bringing the supplies. Let's cook some of them up. So Arnav heads in, we head in, and I'm going to pause here because I personally need to do some thinking about this. There's a lot I'm sorry, this wasn't really very long, but there's a lot to process here, and there's a bit of a knot happening here in this system between Glimmer and Mirage, or the system above Mirage, and the problems with everything. There's a lot to get sorted out here in this system. I think I might set up a map that's just for this system, just so I have an idea of how everything's laid out. But in the meantime, we're going to pause here and come back to this and figure out, you know what? Earl's gonna do what I would do in this situation, which is eat, think about it, and figure out what to do next. So that's what we're gonna do. The knot of this system is something to figure out. All right, thanks all. Thank you very much for hanging out with me on this one. Sorry we didn't get a lot of action on this one. A lot of dice rolls though. So there's a lot going on, and I need to ponder a little bit. Sometimes with one of these, especially when you're playing solo, the best thing you can do is just take a breath and step back and let it percolate in the back of your brain until an obvious solution presents itself, or even an interesting solution. There's a lot of interesting stuff. I'm excited about what's going on in this system. I'm just almost not sure what to swing at first. So we're going to figure that out. In the meantime, thanks very much. That was session 25 in the box, and we'll be running another one here, I think, pretty soon. So I look forward to hearing any comments, any thoughts. If you have an idea for what to call those star creatures that are being born out of the molecular cloud around Meridian Station, any of that, I am all ears. Thanks very much, guys.